Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name's Luke, and I'm joined by a friend of the show, Dan, the man, Albright. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
It is an honor having you on the show. It's always great to have somebody that becomes a fan of the show. In your case, you're also a veteran, so it's even greater to thank you for your service and say welcome home. And congratulations to a huge knockout TKO win at 247 Fighting Championships Flood City Fight Night 2 a week ago today, actually. It was a wild fight. It was a heavyweight fight against Justin Pippins, who's fairly well known coming out of the Mat Factory. Walk us through round one. Round two got really exciting, both in a good way and maybe not so good of a way for you. But let's walk through round one. You're an experienced fighter. This was your first advanced amateur fight. So walk us through round one.
So round one, I mean, as soon as that bell rings, we came out, touched gloves, and just both of us just kind of throwing jabs at each other, trying to find that distance. Pippin was, he started throwing leg kicks. Tried to catch the first one, but I didn't. I just missed it. And then I went in the jab, then he threw another leg kick, and I caught it. And I'm like, well, I'm taking this. Then we get up against the cage, and I thought I controlled the cage scenario real well. He was tough to take down, though. He was very tough to take down. Like he had a good stance, wasn't letting it happen. So I was like, well, I'm comfortable here. I'm just gonna pressure him. I'm gonna wait for him to slip up, and I'm just gonna provide knees. And that's pretty much just how round one went. I think he reversed me at one point. I let off a little bit. He reversed me, but I quickly reversed him, pressured him back up against the cage, kept providing strikes, try to get him down. I attempted 2 takedowns. They just weren't really happening. I was real high up on him. I wasn't low like I should have been. But, that kind of just where round one ended. I thought I definitely controlled the fight there real well.
Well, and that was your first time. Thanks for the breakdown. That was your first time doing a 3-minute fight as well. How much of that extra minute did you kind of mentally realize, like, oh, I'm probably into that now because of your experience with the 2-minute rounds?
Yeah, I mean, that extra minute, I think, for me personally, I think it helps me. I think I got a good gas tank. And I think I've said this before, as the fight goes on, I think I'm just going to constantly keep getting better.
Especially okay, so you make it. Yeah, well, and that's a great attitude to have. You make it to the end of the first round. Things so far, and the fight has been going pretty well for you. You're controlling it. You came out in the second round. What were you looking to do in the second round? And then what kind of happened in the second round? Wild stuff.
Well, yeah, in the second round, Pippins came out. Like, he came out with some heat. He came out with some fire. Like, he as soon as that bell rung, he was on me. My plan going in the second round was kind of keeping everything pretty similar. I was like, I want to be a little more aggressive with the takedowns was my plan. So I was just going to use strikes to close that distance. But Pippins, he came right at me, pressured me against the cage. I popped out off against the cage, and I was like, I'm going to take him down. I dropped my hands. And Pippins, he lit me up. He had 10 seconds of some heat. He was I think it was a right, and then he gave me a hook, and that was on my heels going backwards and sat me on my butt. And he definitely threw all he got, in that strike that sat me down. As soon as I got sat down, I was like, oh, we can't do this. Like, this isn't happening. So immediately I shot in. I got that single leg. He was still trying to finish the fight there, throwing a lot of heavy hands on me. Controlled that leg. Was able to take him to the ground. I got on top, and I was in half guard. And then he tried to put me in an armbar in omoplata, and I was like, oh, that's not happening, because it was something like, my coaches worked on with me, especially with bigger guys. They got certain things in heavyweight, they're going to try to do. And I know that was one of the submissions he was going to be going for, but I just tucked my hand, right towards my belly, started driving into him, was able to break that off. I threw him boots and just started laying heat down on him.
And so it became a TKO. At what point did you think that there was a possibility that the ref would jump in? Were you kind of throwing, thinking, oh, I got to keep doing more damage? Or were you thinking any time now? Like, where do you think it was when he jumped in?
That I wasn't really, I honestly, I wasn't sure if he was going to stop it, especially as soon as I took Pippins' back the first time and I threw boots in, and I just started, I was trying to lay as many strikes as I could, trying to finish it there. And he rolled over, and I was still in mount, and I kept throwing strikes. And in my head, I was like, you know what? I don't think the ref's gonna stop it. So we're going in the third round. I was already planning for the third round before, especially I knew at the time, like my coaches, Ethan and Ray, they're yelling the time and everything. I was like, okay. If he didn't stop it earlier, he's not going to stop it now. We're going in the third round. I'm taking him down. I'm doing the same thing. And then what was it? I think it was 12 seconds left. I was left in the second round where he stopped it, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Well, you have given us a great insight. You mentioned your coaches, the Gorilla House Gym. We probably should have mentioned earlier. It's my fault. You are really built up by that. You hit a rough patch, and they've kind of really created a much more well-rounded fighter. Obviously, you're the fighter in the cage doing some incredible work. We really saw your level increase up against Cody, the incredible Gamble, back several months ago. And now again, just fighting some of the better heavyweights in our area, people that are known and people are excited about. You really have great coaches. You worked with Sheldon Nyhoff quite a bit. You said coming in a fight, I know his fight didn't go his way, and it was kind of a rough night for him, but that training really is paying off. It's also really cool to think that your brain was already thinking, I need to get here again next round. You were thinking, I need to get back to right here next round. What is it like getting a stoppage? What's it like, even 12 seconds left in the round? What's it like with a ref pulling off? Did it take a second or two for your brain to realize it's over? What was that experience like of being told you're done? In a good way, of course.
I mean, it's real exciting, but like, especially when the ref first pulls you off, you're still like in go mode. So, and like my mind's still racing. I'm still thinking about the fight, and thinking about what I got to do next. I'm got to try to settle myself down. To be like, all right, it's over. One, I got it done. Yeah, it's tough to shut it off, especially when, because at that time, like I was in mount, and I'm trying to keep it control of his hands, not letting him slip out from underneath me, and just throw as many strikes as I can with power. And it takes a little bit to kind of get out of that mind frame.
Well, you give us great feedback. So as always, it's really great to see inside the mind of a fighter. It's also something you said when we were talking about your post-fight, we were doing the post-fight interview on your Cody Gamble fight. You said that you wanted to be able to use ground strikes. You wanted to be able to use punches on the ground. And obviously, this made a huge difference in your fight. Now, being sat down and grabbing the single, you did have to protect your head because it also was a risk for you. But you clearly showed, it goes both ways, but you clearly showed that if you get into a dominant position on the ground, you're a heavyweight, you have the ability to use ground and pound. And probably one of the first heavyweights once there was divisions in the UFC to use ground and pound in wrestling very effectively was Randy Couture. And I think that's a great example of getting into positions and then using the ground and pound. So overall, it's not only congratulations to you, it's part of the growth, part of the evolution of your MMA. When it's been a week now, when you think back, how excited are you to get to the next one where you've used ground strikes now? You haven't gone 9 minutes yet, but you've gone 3-minute rounds, basically. You know where your gas tank is. And I guess here's a question. How gas tank wise do you think you were if you had to go another 3 minutes? Like at the end of the fight, 12 seconds ago, you get pulled off, you get adrenaline then, of course, because you won. But your mindset wise, did you feel like you had enough for the next round?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was ready for that next round. As if that was coming up, that's one of the things I was like. There's one point, like I remember the ref saying, stay active, bottom guy who's talking to Pippins, and I was thinking, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even winded. I was like, I got this. I was like, I'm gonna do the damn thing.
Well, maybe that's why you brain, and that's really good because we know that exhausted brains, tired brains forget stuff. When people get super exhausted in fights and they drop their arms, their brain has forgotten where their arms are because they're tired. And you'll see that when people get really winded. It makes sense that your brain was thinking, I've got energy, I've got cardio. Next round, I've got this. It makes sense that your brain was already thinking of the next round because you had the energy. If you were sucking wind, you would have been like, got to get this done now. So it really shows the confidence, the maturity. What do you want to see? You're a more experienced heavyweight now. I mean, as an amateur, I believe your record is now 3-3 or 4-3. I think it's 3-3 now.
3-3.
3-3 now, which you're an example of an amateur that took some losses early and then got a gym, got some things figured out. You're now on a good win streak. What do you want to do next in your amateur career? You've been a 247 fighter now. I know they love you. You're really familiar with the promotion. Is this your time to call for a title fight for 247? Do you want to just continue to develop as a heavyweight? And obviously there was a heavyweight main event on the same card, and your buddy got stopped pretty early. Kind of where do you want to go as a heavyweight right now in the future?
I think what makes sense right now is, especially with having another heavyweight that's undefeated like Julian Flenory, I think it makes sense for us to fight for a belt, and I'm all about it.
Listen, I was hoping that's what you would say, but it had to come from you. You could have said, "Oh, I'll just take the next fight." You're officially calling out for a title fight for 247 against Julian Flenory. He's 4-0, who's looked incredible, 3 knockouts in a row, one of them against your buddy, and I hope he's doing well. It looked like he's, going to be okay. That happens in the fight game, but that's where you want to be. You want to be at the title fight contention, and you specifically want Julian. Let's go there because we don't always get a call out. What would you want to see from yourself? What would be your prediction? Even though it's early, who knows if that matchup's going to happen. Let's say that matchup happens. What would you want to see out of yourself given your progression currently?
I mean, especially fighting a guy like Flenory, who's he's had these knockouts and whatnot. I just want to show that just be the more dominant fighter. I want to show it's like, hit me as hard as you want, but I don't get knocked out.
Well, I think when it comes to fighting any heavyweights, it's better to avoid getting hit than try to take it. But yes, you did take a shot. You recovered well. Flenory so far has been showing that if he lands early, people usually don't make it out of the first round. So that would be an incredible matchup as a fan. As somebody who calls fights, I think that would be incredible. But I'm not the matchmaker. So I'm excited to say I have no influence over the matchmaking for 247. I know Jim Mooney and a few others really take a lot of time and effort in matchmaking. It was an incredible card. You were a part of that incredible card at Flood City Fight Night 2. 247 is going to be at the Meadows. It's announced. It's on the calendar, July 9th at the Meadows Casino. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be spectacular. Anybody in the area, particularly in the Pittsburgh area, should be getting there. And so I appreciate you taking time out. Congratulations. You've made a prediction to be more dominant. You've called out the heavyweight belt for 247 and the opponent in Julian Flenory, Mazur as well. So it's been a pleasure having you on. Enjoy your celebration. Enjoy your victory. Hats off to you and everybody at Gorilla House. I know Ethan just won the belt a couple months ago. Gorilla House is really showing what that attention to detail. It's a small gym. Every fighter that's in the area of Gorilla House, check them out because they really put the effort in to every fighter that's there. Congratulations to you again. Best wishes.
Good night, yeah.
All right, brother. Take care.
Take it easy. Bye.